struggling to market to your ideal clientele with old branding that worked for you years ago? This branding gap is playing a huge role in your current client conversion rate, and you may not even know it. We've heard it all before. My website doesn't matter that much, or I'll get to it eventually, but years go by and yet you're still asking the same question. Why am I still working the same weddings at the same price point with no growth? So what does your current brand and website say about you? Does your copy actually captivate your ideal clientele, or are they quickly closing your site and connecting with someone else? It's time to give your brand some pampering at the Creative Cabana, your all-inclusive strategy and design studio. With over a decade of experience as wedding vendors, their full-service team knows exactly how powerful great branding can be for your business growth. Whether you need a complete brand refresh or just a touch-up with services like website design, brand identity, or copywriting, they've got you covered. And for filmmakers out there, they also specialize in logo animations so that your film can feel that much more elevated. This is something I just invested in, and it's brought an entirely new look to my films. So you poured your heart and soul into your business. Now it's time for a brand that connects with your customers on every level. Visit their website today and use our discount code WGY300 for $300 off your first project at creativecabana.co. Welcome to the We Got You podcast, a network curated for wedding photographers and filmmakers that dives deep into the strategies and tactics to transitioning a side hustle in the wedding industry into a full-time, thriving career. We're your hosts, luxury wedding filmmaker Emma K. Films and luxury destination wedding photographer Hannah Brook Photography. It wasn't too long ago that we picked up our cameras for the first time, having absolutely no idea where it would lead us. Years later, we're traveling the globe for beautiful destination weddings, build our dream lifestyles, and run multi-six-figure careers. It didn't happen overnight and it wasn't easy, but it is attainable and so worth it. And we're ready to teach you our strategies. Covering a variety of topics from both our firsthand experiences and reputable guest speakers' insights crucial for business growth, we're exploring the art of marketing within your niche, discussing effective ways to attract and retain clients, leverage social media, and build a strong online presence, and so much more. We're not shying away from talking through the challenges of the wedding industry and offering realistic solutions to navigate them successfully. We emphasize the importance of networking, establishing meaningful relationships with clients, and continuously honing one's craft to stand out in a competitive market. This is the We Got You podcast.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the We Got You podcast. We can't believe it. Today is episode 199, which means that next week our 200th podcast episode airs, and it feels insane to think about 200 podcast episodes.
It's crazy. That's 200 weeks.
200 weeks. We have done this podcast for 4 years now, and we've missed one Monday episode because it was Christmas, and we're not going to post an episode on Christmas. But that feels insane, like every single week. So surreal. Anyways, we'll save that for next week to talk about a little bit. But this week, we kind of want to do another episode that talks more about pricing. Last week, we talked about pricing for a travel wedding. And this week is really going to be focused on how to customize packages that sell. We're going to be talking through the 3 different ways to present your pricing, obviously assuming that a lot of you know what these pricing packages are, but we do want to touch on them. And then Hannah and I are actually going to go through what we do, what we include in our base packages, and what are different types of add-ons that we offer, or different types of add-ons that you could offer that maybe we don't offer. And yeah, we really just wanted this podcast episode to be about our pricing strategy, or our pricing structure, I should say. There's a whole strategy. Sorry, we're not revealing that one quite yet. But really our whole pricing structure. So to kind of kick it off, we just want to really kind of briefly run through the 3 different systems or structures that you can use to present your pricing. First one being having multiple packages. This is something that both Hannah and I did at the beginning of our businesses, where we had multiple different packages. Essentially, you would have like a bottom tier, a middle tier, and a higher package. Usually maybe like 2 or 3. Usually that middle package is what you want people to book. That's like what you want to be doing. Bottom package is, hey, it's going to get me out the door. I'm excited to do it. That middle package is like, hey, I'm making good money off this. This is what I want to aim for. And that highest package is like, this is like best case scenario. Like, I want them to book this package. I'd make extra profit. It's great. Pro to doing it is you know exactly what you're offering. It makes it easy for your clients to say, okay, I want either package A, B, or C. con to doing this is it does put yourself in a little bit of a, or it does put yourself in a box, into a pricing box where maybe you're like want to make extra money with more days and more coverage. And if you give them 3 options, it's like, okay, well, I have to pick from one of those 3 options. So it's not really allowing yourself that opportunity to grow and to make as much as you want to. So I think that's like a pro and a con. Han, do you have anything with the multiple packaged tiers?
Yeah, no, that was explained perfectly. I also think Walt puts you in a box, it puts your clients in a box too. Like they can there's only so many options. And so they might end up going with another creative because they feel like it's more flexible.
Yeah. I also feel like you can get a little bit confusing sometimes with like how to package those 3 completely accurately. And if obviously you want package 2 to sell, then why are you giving a bottom tiered package? What if your whole year book's out off of your most cheap packages? Well, like that's no fun, right? The next package that we want to talk about, system, is the a la carte. I know a few creators who do this, and basically they just let your clients build it completely from scratch. I don't like this packaging system because obviously they're building it from scratch, right? It's really hard to tell like what are they going to hit. I want them to hit this number, but you're not really sure exactly what it's going to look like if they're building the entire package from the beginning. I really don't know. Like I said, I've heard of a few doing this in the past, but I really don't know a lot of creators that do this. And I honestly like don't recommend it. I think it's great to have add-ons, which is exactly why we'll move into the third. But a la carte is just a way where it's like, hey, you can build your package from scratch.
Yeah. Well, and what's also hard about that too is that you have no, like, there's a very hard way of quantifying what your editing cost is or your extra cost of a wedding, where it's like if having them pay for 8 hours and maybe it's $500 an hour, that's $4,000. Whereas another creative might be like, well, I charge $5,000 for 8 hours, even though my hourly fee is $500, because that extra $1,000 goes to my editing fees. And so it's like, it kind of, again, caps you at a certain spot. And then they're going to be like, wow, you charge so much for hours, where another creative, again, might only charge $500 for hours or $400 for hours. Whereas you have to now compensate on each a la carte option because you're making up for those extra costs that are going to go into a wedding day. So definitely difficult, I think, to do. And honestly, probably the least common one that we see in the industry, but saving best for last is the hybrid packaging. And that's what both Em and I do. We definitely started with more of the like multiple package options, but moving to the hybrid package where we both have a base package, that is what gets you out the door. That is what we are excited about, what we are most commonly booking, what we want to book for a couple's day. And then from there are a la carte options that you can add to the package, you know, whether that be extra hours, maybe that is a second shooter, you know, whatever that looks like. And we're going to dive into, you know, those things that we're including in our hybrid packages, but it really is the best of both worlds, where you are giving your client some structure and a foundation of like, hey, this is what my package like will always include. I'm always having XYZ in my packages, so you don't need to worry about that. Now there's just some options for you to really talk about with your, you know, future husband or wife, and figure out what exactly are you wanting this to look like, and how customized can we make this to fit your day. Every wedding day is so different, so it doesn't make sense to box them in or to make like with the a la carte option only, make it feel like you're having to compensate for whatever your clients are needing. You're kind of like at their grace of what they want. This really gives you that idea of, okay, this is what I will make at least for every single wedding day, but I can still give my clients that customizability, if that's a word, and the flexibility to be able to create what they want as well.
Yeah. And it's great because your base package is like, hey, this is getting me out the door. Like, I'm very happy with what my base is at. If you're going to pay me to get out the door at that number, like, I'm perfectly happy if you don't add anything on. Like, sure, if you add things on, like, that's great. And that's like a huge benefit for me. But if you're just booking my base, like, I am perfectly fine with that because that gets me excited about the door. So with that being said, Hannah and I both want to walk through like what we currently include in our base collection and then what different add-ons look like. Obviously, I just do film, Hannah just does photo. So we can just kind of walk through that. I can kind of start with mine. I made this popcorn here for anyone who's watching, and it's sitting at me, it's staring at me, Han. It's literally staring at me.
I told you should be snacking on it throughout the episode.
I snuck one earlier where you were talking, but I only microwaved it for like a minute on accident because I was all rushed and stressed. And so I've got like half the kernels sitting at the bottom of this bowl. And it's like the worst thing when I'm trying to like record and this popcorn bowl is staring at me.
This last minute has been my favorite of the episode.
Not the point of today's episode, but if it were. No. Okay, cool. So my base collection, I would say that I do things maybe a little bit differently than a lot of other people or a lot of other filmmakers. I have a very all-inclusive base collection. Do I recommend this when you first start? Like also maybe. And then when you kind of like raise your prices a little bit, you want to like condense it down a little bit. The reason why I have a very all-inclusive base package is because I want to, there are select weddings and select planners that I consider myself needing to get into. And so for me, if I can create an all-inclusive package for them that is at a price point that is great for me, I am more than happy to do that. So my film collection comes with 2 hours of welcome day coverage. It comes with 10 hours of wedding day coverage. It comes with 2 cinematographers and an assistant. It comes with a 6-minute highlight film, your ceremony, and your toasts. Sometimes I throw a teaser trailer in. Sometimes I don't. Usually that's an add-on. But if it's a wedding that I'm like, I need to get this, and they're going to look at this package and feel like that's the one thing that's missing and maybe doesn't have the budget for it, I'm going to throw it in there. But those main films are the highlight, the ceremony, and the speeches. And then it does include drone footage, obviously, that goes into the highlight film. And then I just list out, like, hey, it's going to be digitally delivered, premium viewing experience. I use and love VidFlow, which we have discounts code for in our show notes, but that is in my base package. Again, I have all-inclusive packaging because I want this package right here to just be like, wow, at this price point, it comes with everything we want to have her, because I know that especially within the luxury market, these planners that I'm trying to get into, like I can't afford to sit there and just like rack up their bill. I want to make sure that I'm getting paid what I am valued for and what I know, like I'm profiting the exact profit margins I want to, but I create an all-inclusive package so that I can sell it quickly. Different types of add-ons that I do that are outside of my base package. Obviously, you can extend a highlight film. This is great for clients that are like, we want a longer highlight film. I charge per minute. I'll go anywhere up to 9 minutes for that. I know that some filmmakers will go way longer, but extended highlight film is great. Obviously, the teaser trailer, you can deliver that. Maybe you're delivering it within 48 hours. Maybe you're delivering it within a week. For me, contractually, I deliver it within 3 weeks of the wedding. Obviously, ideally, I can get it done and to them like in 2. Sometimes I bring an editor on site. Like this weekend, for example, I'm bringing an editor in on site that can create the teaser the next day. So next day trailers are also totally an option that you can charge for as an add-on, or a standard trailer that comes out within 3 weeks. Additional hours is where I make most of my money. Additional hours, additional days. If a client wants more days of coverage, if they want more hours added on, that's where I'm making a ton of money added to my film collection that I'm charging them for. The other add-ons that I do are a feature film. So this is like a longer, more cinematic highlight film that includes much more of the speeches, much more of the vows. It's like a 15-minute film. I also, when I was starting out, had like a FOMO edit, and the FOMO edit was like a few $1,000s, and it basically includes all the footage from the wedding day. Like it's not cinematically built like the feature film or the highlight. It's really like start to finish in order. It's color graded. Or color corrected. It's color corrected. It's got professional audio in certain moments, and it really is just a way to like showcase them all the footage of the wedding day. But really, those are all the add-ons that I offer. I know you can do so many things, whether you like add on social media reels, but for me, like I include those in all of my packages without writing it out, because this is like my element of like, I book a wedding with a big planner. It's a pretty all-inclusive package. I go work the wedding day. I can get out like 3 reels to them within like 48 hours. That's a huge plus for me and my relationship with that planner. So I don't charge for that. Obviously, content creation is something that is so on the rise right now that I've thought about putting in my packages. Who knows? Maybe by the time this launches, I will. But I definitely think that is another avenue for growth as well. I know that's like a whole ramble of film stuff, but that is my package and also what I add on. So Han, I would just love to learn about the photo industry and what's in your package and what you charge for add-ons.
Yeah, sit back, eat your popcorn. Here we go.
I literally will.
Are you tired of taking on the entire editing workload yourself? Are you tired of staring at a screen for days on end, feeling burnt out and creatively exhausted? Maybe you've been searching for an editing company for months now, but you can't seem to find one that can truly mimic the high-end quality of films you're looking for to deliver to your clients. If this sounds like you, we couldn't be more excited to introduce to you our friends at Wonderlust Videos. Wonderlust Videos is a post-production service for wedding filmmakers with over 10 years of experience and has served over 700 clients to date. Their full team specializes in seamless and high-quality editing for wedding filmmakers who need to take the workload off their shoulders and trust someone to create a high-end edit. As you know, we're incredibly picky about the partners we work with and the tools and resources we recommend to other photographers and filmmakers. With that being said, I myself, Emma, have gone through the process firsthand to use Wonderlust Videos myself and vet their entire process so that I can recommend them to you today with confidence. Wonderlust Videos can edit your highlight films, social media teasers, doc edits, and so much more. Their team edits on Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci Resolve, so it's time to get the help you need and start outsourcing today. You can start with Wonderlust Videos right now at wonderlust-videos.com and use our code WGY10 for 10% off your first project.
Does your current client delivery system feel unexciting, limiting, and boring? Maybe you're still using good old Google Drive or Dropbox to deliver your clients' wedding films. If the answer to these is yes, it's time to level up your video delivery experience with VidFlow. VidFlow is a pay-per-use online platform that allows you to deliver fully branded websites for each of your clients. While being incredibly affordable, VidFlow is accessible on mobile, desktop, and smart TVs with included long-term hosting so that your clients can truly enjoy the entire experience when receiving their wedding films. When I first found VidFlow, it was such an easy switch that truly benefited my business substantially. With so many incredible features and options for customization and personalization, VidFlow continues to wow my clients time and time again. You can find VidFlow on Instagram or visit their website at vidflow.co. Use our code WGY20 for 20% off a yearly premium membership and level up your client experience today with VidFlow.
Honestly, very similar to Emma, where like my base package is what gets me very excited about a wedding day. It is pretty all-inclusive for my couples, but it is at a price point where I'm like, this is where I want to hit for every single wedding. These are the profit margins I want. When you're thinking about this too, I honestly think what is really helpful is looking at what potential clients, like the people that you're wanting to book, what do they want in a package and what is the profit margin you are wanting in a package. When I look at that, I am looking, okay, this is what I'm wanting to make. This is what I'm wanting to charge. These are the things my couples are wanting. And then I'm always adding a little extra to sweeten the deal. So it's like, oh, this is a great deal for this price, but don't add too much where they're like, ooh, why is it this price for all of the stuff that I'm getting? You know, there's that fine line where it's enough to sweeten the deal and it's enough to get me out the door. I'm making what I want. My clients are super happy. They've got what they want instead of having to ask for additional things or feel like they're having to add on. Instead, those add-ons really do feel like that luxury piece where they're like, ooh, why not add this? Oh, why not add this? Instead of like, oh, well, I need more hours, so I have to add on this. Like I want to make sure that they are fully taken care of in that base package. So my base package includes my day of coverage. So anywhere between like 9 to 10 hours, typically. It includes my rehearsal day coverage. It includes 2 photographers. I am officially including digital and film photography, which is really, really exciting. That is something that as you grow and as you get into the higher price points, like is more of a requirement. I remember earlier in 2024, several people turning me down because I didn't have film included in my packages. And so that was really like that mindset shift of like, okay, this has to be something that now I'm adding to my packages. So I have that in my packages. I know a lot of people will have that as an add-on because film is pretty expensive for buying the rolls of film, for developing it and everything. So thinking about what that costs, and then like where that goes, whether you do want that as an add-on or whether you want that in your package. I am always including I add my delivery time into my packages so that people can see, because that is something I'm really proud of and something that I really make a point of is to get their galleries and their previews back as soon as I can. So I always promise previews within 48 hours of the wedding day and their gallery within 5 weeks of the wedding day. Like that's something that I'm pretty proud of, that I can stay on that timeline for all of my couples. And so I want to make sure that they will have their photos and their, their full gallery at a certain point. And then also making sure that all of my travel is included. Obviously, that's going to make the price fluctuate. And we talked a lot about that in the last episode. But those are things that to me, my clients need. And it's not just like, those are not luxury pieces. Those are what they are needing to, for them, even get them out the door and be like, yes, I want to spend this money. Yes, I want to book this person. For myself, for add-ons, I know a lot, like I said, a lot of people do like a film add-on. I have extra hours that people can add for add-ons, whether that is extra days of coverage. I have a day after coverage, a day before the rehearsal coverage, extra hours day of, whatever that looks like. And then also engagement sessions. So I used to include my engagement sessions in my packages, but with all of my couples being typically out of state or international or whatnot, it's not as practical for me to include engagement sessions, because then I'm going to have to add a travel fee onto that, which is going to spike up the price even more. And I want them to feel at a comfortable point of the pricing and then choosing, do I want to book somebody local for engagement sessions, or am I wanting to book you for engagement sessions, and really leaving that up to them. So I'm not wanting to change the pricing drastically to include that. Whereas I know this is what I need in a package. This is what my clients need. And then here's other pieces in that a la carte that will really sweeten it.
Okay, I actually love that though, and I think like that's so valid to just mention about the engagement sessions, because I even think like when I first started out doing video, I was like, oh, I'll do like adventure sessions with all my couples, and for a while like I did, but it was like any travel couple, like I just couldn't do it, or like it was just getting to that point where it was like way too hard to try to like logistically make it work. And so like maybe if you're someone who's like, hey, like I'm shooting local all the time, maybe you trade in the rehearsal coverage and maybe you do an adventure session or an engagement session with your couple. Like if you want to create something that's all inclusive, or you have them both as add-ons, and that's great. Like not everyone offers welcome dinner coverage and wedding day coverage together. I know so many people who are like, my package price starts with just wedding day coverage, and like so many people do that. For Hannah and I, we were like, honestly, like we're just seeing that in the industry right now, where it's becoming this like multiple days of celebrating. And so like, of course, I'm going to put that in there so that it can look more enticing for planners, but I'm charging for it. So I know that I'm still at the value price point that I want to be at.
Absolutely.
Also too, for anyone who's like, okay, well, I do elopements, or like I want to do like smaller intimate weddings. Obviously, the difference there is like having less hours of coverage. Typically, when you're doing elopements, you're maybe doing 4 to 6 hours of coverage. I know so many filmmakers and photographers who really give them like the full experience of an entire day, and they craft this day that's like so uniquely special to them, where they're getting photo and film coverage the entire day. So like, don't rule that out. It really depends on like what kind of filmmaker or photographer are you? Like, are you super documentary? Would having a whole day just be this super cool thing that you could sell for elopements? But I know like when Hannah and I were doing elopements, like I would really sell 4-hour packages, 6-hour packages. And that was great. I also think like you can absolutely trade out your rehearsal dinner for an adventure session. Maybe it's like a sunrise session somewhere. Like there's so much that you can do with elopements, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on a smaller scale.
Absolutely. And honestly, I think a lot of people who offer and want to book elopements and intimate weddings as well as full wedding days, you fall into this trap where you're like, okay, all of this stuff is great that you guys said about hybrid packages, but I need I need that elopement package and I need that wedding day package. And I think at that point, I would go back to what we were saying, where you really think about the purpose of a hybrid package and how that does really help your clients. And either you are making an elopement intimate wedding pricing guide that has a hybrid package for elopement and intimate weddings, or you're making a wedding day package that is a hybrid package for your wedding days. There's no reason that they need multiple packages. If they're reaching out to you for an elopement, they don't need to see your wedding day packages. It doesn't fit. It's almost like that read the room, know who your couples are. Whereas when they get just the elopement package, that is a hybrid option instead of the elopement and the wedding day, they're going to be like, oh, this person gets me. They know what I need. Whereas if it's a wedding day and they're seeing these elopement packages, they're like, they're not seeing what I need. This is not what I need, or vice versa. So really making sure that you are customizing what you are like creating for your couple. So whether that is an elopement or an intimate wedding or a wedding day, you don't need to send them all those options. If you know they're looking out for an elopement, send them what is justified for an elopement in whatever your packages look like. You know, really make sure that you are not only reading the room in your couples, but also gaining that trust with them of them recognizing, okay, this person knows what I need and they see what I need and they're serving already what I'm needing.
Exactly. And Hannah and I also too are doing an episode next week where we're going to be talking about pricing guides. But I think like that is something, especially when it comes to like customizing packages, like I can't stand it. And I think this also comes with like the having the like multiple different packages that you're selling. Like I can't stand it when you're going to send me like an elopement and a wedding film pricing guide, right? Like you're sending me both and it's like, no, I just want a wedding, right? But then you're giving me, now I'm like, oh, there's like a lower price point one. Like, oh, like, could I fit into this? Like make it feel personal. And we're going to dive so much more into it next week. But like making sure that you're customizing these packages for your client. Obviously, you've got that base number that you need to get out the door with that. And like, don't compromise that unless it's again, like episode 192, when should you give a discount? Like little plug there. But like, unless you are deciding officially you're going to give a discount, like don't compromise that base package. Let there be that base price and they can build on top of that. And that's why like sometimes the all-inclusive route isn't the way for everyone because they're like, I don't want to do that every single wedding. Like I want to make sure that that's like, if the client wants it, then they can add it on. I know for me and the clientele that I'm working with right now, it's to my benefit to include the ceremony and the speeches and the highlight, right? But it's not for everyone. So I think like really knowing your client, really knowing who is inquiring with you and like how can you create a package that will really fit their needs is truly, truly so beneficial.
Yeah. And honestly, the last little thing, which we spent a solid half hour talking about last week, is travel. Really just making sure that you are including that travel into your custom package. Because again, like we have like reiterated, your couples want to know that you are thinking about them, their wedding day, not just, oh, I send this out to absolutely everybody and like maybe we'll talk about travel. It's like, no, I know what you need. I've got you. I'm answering your questions before you're even asking them. Travel's already included. It feels all inclusive. It feels more expensive. Even though like regardless of what that price point is, they feel more taken care of, which makes it feel more expensive, which makes them feel like they're getting a better deal. So we cannot like state enough to like make sure that that's added. If you guys did miss last week, make sure you go listen in. But it is really fun because I feel like this month we're almost doing like this umbrella of pricing, which is, I think, so important in this industry because while we're not giving you guys exact numbers, our hope is that these episodes can age with wherever you are in the industry, whether you are, you know, moving into elopements, whether you're growing into high end, whether you're going into luxury, like all of these things still apply. And it really is just, you know, like figuring out what you are needing to price travel at, what you're needing to price a package at, how to really customize that. And then next week, we'll dive even further into that. So we are very excited to be going over all of this with you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. And we will see you next week on another episode of the We Got You podcast.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the We Got You podcast. We would absolutely love it if you could take an extra minute to leave us a review and let us know what you think. DM us a screenshot of it and we'll send you a coffee on us. If you want access to an exclusive community, rad freebies, giveaways, and wedding referrals, then join our Facebook group today. Also, if you aren't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure that you're following along on Instagram at WeGotYou_podcast to stay up to date. We'll see you next week on the We Got You podcast.